Today, I want to talk to you about a disease that is very present in our society, a disease that is very present throughout the world. And I'm not talking about any disease. I'm not talking about a physical illness. That's right. This disease has no medical diagnosis. She has a spiritual diagnosis. And what is this disease? I'm talking about a disease called negativity. That's right. There are people, and there are many, who have a disease called negativity. They are so negative that before they even try anything, they are already believing that it won't work. They don't even try and they already think they won't succeed. This is an illness, and it is a very serious illness. Because negativity is a blockage. It is a blockage to faith. She is a block to certainty. And if faith is the certainty of what I am not seeing, but I believe, how will I believe if I am negative? I'm not seeing it anymore. So how am I going to express my faith and believe even without seeing if I am a negative person, if I have this disease called negativity? And this is so serious that in Mark chapter 5, verse 21, it says, "When Jesus had returned from the boat to the other shore, a large crowd gathered around him while he was at the edge of the sea. Then one of the leaders of the synagogue, called Jairus, seeing Jesus, he prostrated himself at his feet and begged him insistently, 'My little daughter is dying. Please come and lay hands on her so that she may be healed and may live.' Jesus went with him. See that Jairus, a leader of the church's synagogue, comes to Jesus and begs him to help his daughter, who is dying. She was very sick. And Jesus then was going with him. Jesus is going to pass through a crowd. Among this crowd, the woman with the issue of blood will be healed, and soon after Jesus speaks to her, in verse 35 it says, "While Jesus was still speaking, some people arrived from the house of Jairus, the leader of the synagogue. 'Their daughter died,' they said. 'No need to bother the master anymore.' Disregarding what they said, Jesus said to the ruler of the synagogue, 'Do not be afraid. So just believe.' Watch. Jesus said, 'Do not be afraid. So just believe.' But how can we believe if there is negativity?" Continuing in verse number 37, he left no one following except Peter, James, and John, James's brother. When they arrived at the house of the synagogue ruler, Jesus saw a commotion, with people crying and lamenting loudly. Then he went in and said to him, "Why all this commotion and lamentation? The child is not dead, but he sleeps." But everyone started laughing at Jesus. But he ordered them to go out, took with him the child's father and mother, and the disciples who were with him, and entered where the child was. Jesus arrived at the house, and there was an uproar, people lamenting, people crying. Jesus then asks, "What is happening here? What is this commotion? The girl is dead. She is sleeping." At the same time, everyone's face changed. The commotion, the lamenting, the crying stopped and gave way to laughter. Jesus, he ordered everyone to leave, leaving only the child's father and mother and his disciples. Why, Jesus, did he send everyone out of the house? Because those people were negative people. Because those people who were there making a fuss were sick. They had the disease called negativity. You can see that. They came to Jairus, Jesus, and said, "Oh, don't bother the master anymore, otherwise she's already dead." There's no other way. Negative people. People who don't know how to believe, people without faith, who look at a negative circumstance and think it's the end, who look at the first obstacle that appears and they think it's already over, which is the end of everything. And pay attention, negativity is a very serious illness. It is one of the main causes of people not changing their lives. Jesus had to tell everyone to leave because there were only unbelievers. There were only negative people in that place. It's not that Jesus didn't have the power to perform the miracle, even in the midst of so many negative people, to teach us that we shouldn't be negative or hang around negative people. Take a moment to reflect with me. Do the people who are closest to you, your family, your friends, the people who work with you, start to pull at your memory now? What are the words that most come out of these people's mouths? Are they positive words? Are they words of encouragement? Are they words of support? Or are they words that, "Are they poor? Can't do anything? Does nothing work?" When you talk about a project, something you want to achieve, something you want to do, what are the answers? Do they encourage you and tell you that it will work, that you have already achieved it. Or they say that you'd better not even try, that you'd better forget this idea, that you'd better give it up because nothing will happen, because you won't succeed, because you don't have the necessary study, because you don't have the necessary skill, because you've never tried this, because it's a totally new thing. Stop and think, my brother. Stop and think, my sister. What do they say to you? Are you hanging out with positive people or negative people? Because here Jesus is teaching us a great lesson. If the people who are close to you, if the people who are living with you are negative, tell them to leave, stay away from them, because their negativity will affect you. That's right. It is a contagious disease. Take the insight you are receiving. In addition to being a disease, it is a contagious disease. You may not be a negative person today, but if you continue to hang out with negative people, that negativity will rub off on you. So brother, learn from Jesus. Jesus, he didn't stay there trying to convince them, because he already saw it's all negative. Sometimes you are even trying to insist on some negative person. You tell her, you try to open her mind, you try to guide her, but the negativity doesn't come out of that person. And if you keep trying to insist on being together, walking together, you will become negative too. There are people who live in a negative environment and don't let go. Why? Because she has already settled down, because she has already become as negative as other people. So pay attention. As you have been thinking you have been a negative person, do a self-examination and identify if you are spiritually sick with negativity. Second, analyze who you hang out with, whether they are negative or positive people, whether they are people who are always encouraging or demotivating you. Ask for attention. There is no middle ground. It's yes, yes, or no. Make an honest analysis. Are you being a negative person, yes or no? Are you hanging around negative people, yes or no? And look, proof of how negative you are already being is that from the beginning I have spoken words of doubt, uncertainty, negative words many times, and it didn't bother you. While I'm talking to you, it bothers me to repeat that word so much. But did you bother? Are you feeling distressed from hearing so many words of doubt in this message? But this is to show you that you are already settling down, that you need to wake up right now and say, enough. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to think positive. It's already worked. But it has worked, because there is no negativity, because I have no doubt, I am sure, I have faith. It already worked. If someone tries to block you, calm your faith, tell you that you shouldn't try because it won't work. You walk away and tell yourself, it already worked. Tell God, God, I know it already worked. Lord is with me. Learn what Jesus is teaching you. You learn how serious this disease is. And continuing then, in verse number 41, he took her by the hand and said to her, Talita Kumi, which means, girl, and I order you, get up. Immediately, the girl, who was 12 years old, stood up and started walking, and that left them stunned. Everyone was in disbelief. What? Nobody believed it. Stop and think. Sometimes you're hanging around people who are so negative that even when they see you've made it, they won't believe it. There are people who don't want to be cured, and what is it up to you to do? Be a positive person, and don't let that negativity take over you. The disease of negativity is everywhere, so you need to protect yourself. As telling yourself that you will make it, being positive, moving away from these more negative people. Be careful with the environments you are in. Soon, I will bring a message about environments, so you can understand how an environment can affect your life, how it can help or hinder you. And that's why it's important for you to activate the notification bell. If you are not subscribed yet, sign up and activate the notification bell so you don't miss out, as one message complements the other. It is food that you receive and that helps you, that guides you until you become a better person, have a better life, achieve the blessings that God has for your life. And what you are learning today is that there is a very serious disease that is very contagious, and it's called negativity. And it cannot, under any circumstances, exist in your life, and there can be no middle ground. For some things I'm at full steam, I'm full of faith, I'm going for it, but for others I'm already a bit like that. No, it doesn't matter if it's something big or small. You have to always be positive. It doesn't matter what you're seeing. what it looks like, what the obstacle is. Be positive. Be positive. Don't let it affect you. Everyone will be stunned, but they will see their lives change. You just need to believe. If this message spoke to you, post it here in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the bell for future messages. God bless you.